with me for the next, I want to say maybe about 90 minutes or 2 hours. So the first thing is, well, not the first thing. So one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm just going to work on sending out some emails, scheduling some emails for two of my different businesses today. And then about a half hour from now, maybe about 20 minutes from now, 25 minutes from now, we'll start our Monday morning meetup, which is so every Monday at 8 a.m. Eastern. We've been doing this for years, for an hour. Myself and my co-host Caroline DeSange, we get together with a live audience on YouTube. You guys will get to see the behind the scenes of that, where we talk about what it takes to grow a digital publishing business. Today, we're going to talk about multiple streams, right? Having multiple streams of income coming in, and how do you set that up and why you should have that in place. What are some of the desires? So you'll get to see how we do the Monday morning meetup behind the scenes, how we have a live audience on. We actually have a live Zoom audience, so we'll be recording that. And before we do that, it'll just be a live study work session. So join me in this study work session, kind of behind the scenes. I won't be talking too much. I'm just going to be knocking it out, getting some work in until we start the Monday morning meetup. And that's where we kind of get into the meat of things. All right, so let me, you guys see how messy my glass desk is over here. Look, if you have a hard time getting work done, this is an incredible book, The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. I'm not going to talk about it too much now, but it is a dynamic book. All right, so I'm going to get to work on some things, and I will pull up some study music, some study sounds, study music, study sounds. Got some good morning music here. How about that? All right, we're gonna start the Monday morning meetup. So I'm done scheduling my emails for the day. Oh, got an error. Let me go back and fix one of them. So you always want to make sure that you have your unsubscribe links in here. It just makes it easy for people to remove themselves from your email list if they don't want to be on it. And it's the law, so it's required. All right, so I got 2 minutes before we start our Monday morning meetup. At the top of the hour. And again, if you ever want to join me, Caroline and everyone else that's on the Monday morning meetup, you can do so by going to Cohen / or tycohen.com /MMM. Right? So tycohen.com /MMM for Monday morning meetup or Monday morning meetup. And you'll come to a page like this that says welcome to the Monday morning meetup, and this is where you can register. Right? So I'm gonna go in and actually I'm gonna start it. I'm gonna turn off our good morning music, start this bad boy. And then we'll wait for people to come into the Zoom room. And I'll wait for my co-host Caroline to come into the Zoom room.
Recording in progress.
All right, so we're recording. We have people that are starting to come in already. And this is how you do, like if you want to do a weekly type of a Zoom call or training or whatever it might be. This is how you will do it, right? So we use Zoom. And as you can see, I'm going to take my iPad off. But if I go to the waiting room, and we're early, right? So there's still people. So you can see a bunch of people that are actually waiting for me to let them in. And we do this every Monday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time. Did you set the clocks back yesterday? Was it back or forward? Let me know in the chat. All right, so hopefully we have everyone on. And it's just, it's free. It's something that we do for free that we use to give back to the community. So I kind of came up with this idea about 3 years ago. We've been doing it now. So, all right, we're live. I'm going to go in and go live. And then you'll see how we do this. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Great morning, great morning, great morning. Hopefully everyone is doing well. Let me just make sure that I didn't get any notes from Caroline, any surprises or anything. So let me know, Caroline, if you're here. All right. Oh, she's in traffic. Okay, boom, just in traffic. All right, so we're going to kick this thing off. So today, one of the things that we're going to talk about, and I'm actually going to start the recording so that I have it fresh. I'll tell you, you never get used to these things sometimes, right? Is that how it is, Christine? You never get used to it. All right, so here, I'm going to start it fresh. And hopefully we are recording. All right, so today on Monday Morning Meetup, we're going to talk about having multiple streams of income. And more specifically, multiple streams of digital income, right? Which I'm really fond of. I think that what can happen is at any moment, you could have something that goes wrong in your business. And if you're not prepared for it, it can be disastrous. So when I was in my teens, I'm going to tell you guys a quick story. So I would always hear my mom talk about living off of 30% of the income that you brought in, right? Whether it was, and she was referring to, working a job or whatever it was. I assume she was talking about working a job because my mom wasn't into business. She didn't have a business or anything like that. And if you know my story, she actually so she got state assistance. She got about $400, $450 a month. And this is like welfare, food stamps, and things like that. And that was raising myself, my brother Reggie, my brother Richard, my brother Michael, and then my sister Rhonda and my sister Gwen, who also had sickle cell like me, and she later passed, right? So um, my mom raised all of these kids, and she did it all for $450 a month, right? Now I know it was a while back, but I'm not that old where $450 was like this huge amount of money. And I would always hear her say, these little things, you learn how to live off of 30% of your income. And I had not been working at that time. I started working a summer job at Walgreens Pharmacy at 14. You guys, did anyone have a summer job? Anyone else have a summer job? Doing whatever it could have been. I see Christine and I see Donnie. I'm not surprised. I see Barbara. I'm not surprised, right? Michelle. So it could have been anything, right? It could have been delivering newspapers. It could have been shoveling snow. It could have been, well, you can't shovel snow in the summer, technically, right? I think that would be hard. But it could have been whatever. And for me, it was initially, we had this program in Connecticut that was like a work program for teenagers, and you could start at 14, but you were very limited in the number of hours that you could work, right? And I think they later moved it to like 15. So I ended up signing up for this program through my mom, not through her, because she became aware of it and she wanted me to sign up for it. And I would go to work, and I would come home and I would complain my butt off about this job. Ma, I hate this stupid job. I can't wait until it's over. Because I was a video game guy. I wanted to play my video games all day, right? So I wanted to be on and play Joust and all the Pac-Man and all of the other video games that I had there. And what she was doing was, I think she was instilling discipline in me, right, by having me work, because I had the freedom of doing what I wanted to with my money. Right now, I'm sure it could have helped out and helped her with some things, right? My mom and my dad were separated, and my dad would come by and he would help out in ways as well. But I remember her saying this: live off of 30% of what you generate. And even at that age, I kind of thought it was strange, but I didn't truly get the full gist of it. And I'll tell you how I thought it was strange. Because I thought it was strange that when I was working there, I probably made about $75 or so a month, right? And I'm thinking at 14, 15, I'm like, how does someone work a job, right? I'm not thinking business yet, because that wasn't even in my stratosphere. But how does someone work a job but live off of just 30%? So it became like this mystery to me. And as I got older, I always kept that in mind. So as I got to be 18, and I'm working more hours at Walgreens, and as I became 19 and 20, I'm working more hours, and I'm also dabbling in starting my first business, right? The first couple of businesses where I started to sell toys, and I started to sell like antique toys and wind-up Disney toys and G.I. Joes from the 60s with the Kung Fu grip, the 12-inch G.I. Joes and all of these things. And even at this time, I'm still wondering, how does someone live off of 30% off of their income, which is what my mom had shared with me. And I see Caroline, good to see you, Caroline. All right. So now I'm starting to develop this. I'm starting to challenge myself. And what I'm doing is, as I would get paid at Walgreens, I would not pick up my checks every week, right? So we would have to go to the accountant's, the bookkeeper's office, her name was Sue, by the way, and pick up our checks every Friday. And I would go in and I would pick up a check maybe 1 month and then let 2 or 3 ever accumulate, right? And they would look at me strange. I'm sure they thought I was selling drugs or doing something, right? But I would let these things accumulate, and she would always be like, "Hey, Ty, you got checks coming up." That's how Sue had talked. Not our Sue, but Sue. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm trying to be the cool kid, and I'm like I said, I'm 20, 21 years old. And it was this habit that I had developed over and over and over again. And now, as I get to be 25 and 26 and 27, you have some ups and downs in life, right? So I had some ups and downs in life where I'm trying to still figure things out. I wasn't really good at managing my money in the way that my mom had wanted me to manage it. So much so that one of the very first apartments that I rented this thing out with my friend Malcolm, we got kicked out of it because I wasn't good at paying my rent, right? I wasn't good at saving my money. So then it became more of a challenge for myself. And I said, you know what? I remember my mom talking about this thing, saving, the 30%. And I went back to her and I asked her, I said, well, how do you do this? Like, how does somebody save, live off of, not save, I'm sorry, live off of 30% and save the other to 70%? Right? That was her thing. It wasn't investing. She wasn't into investing other outside of bonds. Right? So I went in, I remember having this conversation with her, and she said, the way that you do it is you are intentional with everything that you spend and you're aware of what your spending habits are. So I remember she would always carry this little flip notebook around, and I would always see her writing things down. I had no idea as a kid what she was writing down, but when she said that, it made sense. She was writing down what she spent. Because she said to me, she said, if you spend without being aware of what you're spending, come the end of a week, you have no idea where your money went. And that was me. End of a week, I would be like, oh my God, I just got paid. Now I'm making more money at Walgreens. Where the heck did my money go? So I developed this habit of just spent $1 at this time, 75 cents for a Pepsi, right? Writing everything down, getting very good at what I spent my money on. And that allowed me to get better with living off of 30% of what I made and saving the other 70%. And then as I started to read different books and things like that, I started to invest the 70%, right? So I started to put more into the stock market. I started to put that money into mutual funds. Later started to put it into real estate. Started reading books like T. Harv Eker's Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. Has anyone ever read T. Harv Eker? So I see Donnie, I see Brenda, Michelle, a bunch of people, and if I'm not calling out your name, that's because you're just out of my vision. So then, coincidentally, I read T. Harv Eker, and I started to go to some of his events, and he starts to talk about this stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, T. Harv Eker stole my mom's idea. Because she had said this stuff way before he had published Secrets of a Millionaire Mind, right? So I'm thinking, and I'm just being facetious. But as I started to make more and more money, T. Harv said, as you start to make more money, now that 25%, it becomes a game. You can now start to live off of 20%. You can start to live off of 10%. You can start to live off of 5%, providing you're making a lot of money, right? And that's where I was at. It started to become a game for me. And the only way that was possible was by having multiple streams of income. And what do the preppers say? There's this phrase, and I wish Danielle was on here, but it is when hold on. It's SHTF. SHTF. Does anyone know what that means? That's the survivalists and the preppers, they use that. All right, so there's a couple of bad words in there. So when things hit the fan, right? When things hit the fan, because you're good at learning how to discipline your money yourself off of your spending habits without diminishing the quality of your life, a major issue is now not necessarily a major issue. Whereas before I started to develop this, a $200 starter that needed to be replaced on my car or an alternator or a $100 battery became like this major crisis. Right? Because I'm like, oh my God, where am I going to get the $200 at? Because my money's spent before I'm even spending it, before I even receive it. Right? So that's what we're going to talk to you guys about, just having contingency plans. We're going to talk to you guys about having backups. We're going to talk to you guys about having multiple streams of income and all of interesting things that come along with that. And some form of
the first thing that we teach in business, shouldn't it, Tom?
Oh my God, it
We
should
do
be.
to an extent, but so many of us, I know you're the same, I'm the same, made mistakes because we didn't take that seriously enough, that concept that you've just described. And then as you were talking about it, I was thinking, yeah, but if someone's giving me that advice and they're a millionaire, I'm going to take it. Someone's giving me that advice, because it's good advice, of course, but someone's giving me any advice on anything like this and they're broke, then I won't take it. But I think this concept is interesting because it's also a balance, isn't it? Of,
Yeah.
enjoying
Yep.
enjoying it as well. And I guess in a way, it's like this whole thing about, not taking anything for granted and having huge appreciation, but just being really careful. I've had something the last few months where I've just been extra careful with things. It's amazing how you spend less, but actually it doesn't significantly affect anything.
Yeah.
And so it is that balance, isn't it, around enjoying the success, but equally having those reserves in place. So if anything really bad happens, then you've got that stability. Because I tell you, there's nothing worse, and you've been there, there's
Yeah.
nothing worse than feeling unstable and out of balance in that area.
Yeah.
It's like one of the worst things, isn't it? I don't know whether you agree with Ty. Like you shared the story about with the IRS and all that story you shared publicly.
Yeah.
That feeling of imbalance. The fear is really gripping.
It is.
It really is, and it's tricky, isn't it, for entrepreneurs that just start out? Because also there's this thing about, I guess there's a difference between personal spending and business spending as well. Because then there's a difference where, you've got to, you really have for the first few months of your business got to put a lot of what you get back in to create more content. More so a few years ago maybe than now, with technology as it is, we can do things cheaper. If we want to embrace that, I guess at some stage we're going to have to embrace it. But I think there's also this. I guess it's also about making sure that you've got that balance. So it could be that in the early months you're actually putting a lot more than you're living on the 30%, like you say, or the 25%, but then the rest of that is a lot of the rest of that is going back into creating, building, that sort of thing. But I guess it's then, as long as you're mindful that first goal is breaking even.
Yeah.
Business starts to pay for itself. Next goal is getting into profit, and I guess it's about the balance between scaling your business and then taking that profit out to invest it or save it or whatever, isn't it? And it's tricky, isn't it? Don't you think, Ty, for entrepreneurs?
It is tricky, and it could be an emotional roller coaster as well sometimes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It is.
But when something goes wrong and you realise you're on your ass, that's when you realise that plan, whatever you're doing, and that plan needs to change. But so shall I share what I went through over the last 3 months?
Yeah, you can. Do you want to give the quote so that we can kind of frame it?
Let's do that, and then we'll frame it that way. Yeah, absolutely. So obviously it's nothing major. It's only pretty mild, but it threw me off.
And I actually, as you're pulling up the quote, these are 2 T-Har record quotes actually.
Yeah,
but
they're great actually.
Yeah, as you're pulling up the quote, I actually think that these moments are good. Now look, we don't think that they're good when we're in the moment. When I owed the IRS hundreds of thousands of dollars, I didn't think that was good in the moment, right? But it allowed me to get super knowledgeable about tax laws, structuring of my business, right? It allowed me to get super knowledgeable about making sure that I have the right team, attorneys, accountants, that are at a certain level, that are used to dealing with businesses that are at a certain level. It allowed me to do some other things to put in place that would secure my future and my wife's future, my children's future even more so. So when I was in that moment, if you would have said, "Hey Ty, this is great for you," right? I was like, "Yeah, right." Right? So it's the same with having merchant accounts. I talked about having merchant accounts where I had $100,000 tied up in Redwood. It actually wasn't Redwood Merchants. It was another account. But having $100,000 tied up in a merchant account because the business had grown too well and they couldn't understand that, right? So all of these,
hold it because they think this looks dodgy. This looks weird.
It looks dodgy, right? It looks weird.
Like 6 months.
6 months, right? So having $100,000 held for 6 months because the level of growth doesn't match up to what they're used to, right? And at this time, this is when digital businesses were really starting to take off, right? And they're used to dealing with physical businesses. So if you see with a physical business, right, typically you see 10%, you see 5%, you see 20%. That looks unheard of. Lord knows you see 75%, right? What the heck is going on here? Right? So they've got to be doing something. So
But in that situation, Ty, were you in a situation when that 100K was tied up for 6 months, that you were selling your whatever product,
yeah.
and then you had to pay affiliates? So you
No,
had to
I did not have affiliates at that time.
That's good.
Yeah, I didn't have affiliates.
They're like 70,000 of it, you know?
Right. No, I didn't have affiliates. That the affiliate game came after that. It was, but I was running a lot of ads. So this was back when Overture and Google, Facebook wasn't even around, right? It was Overture, Google, Yahoo, and I'm running a lot of ads. And then you have your living expenses. This was another moment where I was not heeding my mom's live off of 25%, right? Advice. And I'm living. When I say living, we're taking vacations and we're, doing this and we're doing that. So it does have to be some balance where you get to a point. And I think you also get it out of your system. I was having a conversation with someone the other day that you guys would know, but I'm not going to mention the name. And I was saying, the person was like, how do you know what to spend on and what not to spend on? And I said, well, first you have to experience certain things to know if you even like it or enjoy it or not, right? You have to eat steak before you know if you enjoy steak or not, right? So I said, like, all of these, there's some things that I thought you should do when you started to make money that we did, that, to be honest with you, I didn't even enjoy. In hindsight, I didn't even enjoy. Like, I don't enjoy really going to the beach much. And this is part of our conversation. I'm saying I don't enjoy going to the beach much and laying out on the beach for 5 or 6 hours. Now, my wife loves it. Me, I enjoy going to the mountains and it's quiet and I'm just relaxing there and we're having a good time. Now, what I mean by that is you have to just figure out what you enjoy. Like, you don't go by status quo, right? You don't go by what society says you should enjoy, and you have to experience this thing. I enjoy living a pretty modest life, but knowing that I can ball out till I fall out, as the kids said, if I wanted to. That for me is more. You like that, Christine? You see, I'm picking some things up from the kids.
Fall out until you fall out.
Right. Although I think that's no longer a saying, so if my kids hear me saying it, they're probably gonna look at me in disgust.
But it's also about that's back to all those conversations we've had about authenticity, true to yourself. It's like, okay, I'm in this whatever. Because people want different things, don't they? Some people, I'm not interested in fast cars.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got amazing, beautiful BMW. For me, that it's just gorgeous,
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, actually, I would quite like Porsches on the
Is on the list.
I do like Porsches,
Yeah.
but I'm not really into. They're sort of like wheel, seat, engine. That's sort of where it levels for me. India's my son is, but then I like nice clothes. That's something, and vacation thing and stuff. But then, so different people want different things. Like, I would like to be on the beach for 5 or 6 hours, but I'll be in the sea the whole time.
In the water.
Yeah. I can't lay there and do nothing. I always know when you're at the beach because you always do videos, so I can tell what you're
I'm trying to occupy my time while the wife and the kids are they're having, and there's nothing wrong with it. So, right, it's nothing wrong with. I like fast cars. I really, and if I could have a 200, not if I could, because anything is possible, but a 200 car garage, and my wife not reel me in, I would have a 200 car garage, Nancy's cracking.
Yeah. So everyone wants different things, but you're not as into fancy restaurants as or maybe, so different things like that. But so it's different people want different things, and that's important that when you you build your business and everything, and you get some success. It's that balance between I'm doing this for other people, ego, or I'm doing it because
I'm supposed to.
It's something that I really want to do. Yeah, like for me, it was vacations with the kids, being able
Yeah.
to travel, because I couldn't do it for quite a few years with them when they were little. But also, it's about a lot of people are doing things on Facebook for show anyway, and it's just not getting carried away with that, because ultimately, when I'm talking to coaching people and building their businesses, unless they're really comfortable with doing an alternative to this, I encourage them to hang out in that job. Like I'm saying to Erin, just stand there for a while, because you don't want to I've done it before, you don't want to put pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
Just while you sort of get to that level of stability, and that's okay. But I think it's tricky because you're having success and people around you are seeing that your life hasn't changed, and it's about just managing
Yeah.
your thoughts around it. Let's do the quote. Actually, I just realised I'm going to end up forgetting it again. So it's T. Harv Eker from Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. I've got the audiobook as well, because he narrates it, I think, doesn't he?
He does, which I love when an author does that.
I do, because I got a Joe Dispenza one the other day, and I was really disappointed because he wasn't narrating it, and I love his voice.
Yeah.
So the most powerful form of wealth building today isn't about earning a paycheck, it's about what you know. And then also focus on all 4 of your net worth factors: increasing your income, increasing your savings, increasing your investment returns, and decreasing your cost of living by simplifying your lifestyle, which is exactly what you were talking about from your mum's mentoring.
When I heard that, I studied T. Harv Eker for probably a 2-year period, and coincidentally, I went back to when me and my wife had went out to the Amalfi Coast a couple of months ago. I had started re-listening to Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. Now it hits a little bit different than it did there back then when I first started. But yeah, it's those things, right? It is because I had known saving, which is what my mom used to talk about, savings, and also bonds. And I think she talked about bonds because of the period of time that she grew up in, right? Bonds was that thing that we all knew.
Yeah, it's so fun, yeah.
Correct. And then as I started to study more, and then I said, okay, well, I got frustrated with having a ton of money in accounts, and then you look at it, like you would have 200,000 in an account, and then you look at it a year later, and it's like 200,000 and $100. Like you've made $100, and I'm like, this is insane. Like I need to start investing. And then I want to talk about that too, because there's things that you could invest in that you should invest in, and then there's things that you should not invest in, right? Because Warren Buffett talks about this. He talks about if you can't explain the thing that you're investing in on a napkin, you shouldn't invest in it, right? So for me, that was cryptocurrency. It was work to understand cryptocurrency. Now, that doesn't mean that, I'm saying don't invest in it, because everyone's different. If you and Marty and Josh, they love it. They talk about it all day long when they come by, and I'm like, okay, enough with the freaking crypto. Let's talk about the weather or something, right? But if that's your thing, then, it's your thing.
Isn't it?
It's the passion, right?
As publishing was, and probably still is for them as well, yeah.
Correct, right. And that's how digital publishing is for me. It's so you find the thing that people are like, hey, shut up already. I get it. You like this. And that's what you should. For me, it's mutual funds. It's the stock market. It's real estate. It's digital publishing. Crypto, I'm like, I need to go get some beer aspirin after I talk about the watch it. So that's the, right? That's the thing.
There's so many other great ways to
Yeah.
To invest, isn't there? Like you say, with property and different things like that. I must admit, that's the way I want to go. And you're years ahead of me in all of this, of course. But I had an experience. I don't want this to scare any of you in terms of this would happen to you.
Because it's never happened to me, and I don't know anyone that it has happened to. So just to frame it, but
it's like frame that.
It's like life. It's like getting, someone who got hit by a car, but that doesn't make you afraid of walking across the street anymore. Right?
Yeah.
So.
And also, I know it sounds a bit woo-woo does work though, but I understand some emotions that led up to that. So just to frame it, I still have a little bit of stuff around, everything lays on me, I get quite stressed about that with the kids. It sort of inside, I was sort of I was sort of had a big tax bill, and then uni fees, and it was all coming. It felt like it was all coming in terms of the responsibility, because of course I'm the provider. Dad doesn't provide, so it can't. But anyway, that's another story. So I don't want to talk about that. And so I didn't realise that I got this stuff going on emotionally, and I was sort of getting a bit like this during the summer. And anyway, July's royalties came through as normal. I think it was a 25 grand month, and I just was launching another pen name. So I heavily invested back in twice into my business to do this new pen name.
So July you get 25,000 in from Amazon Kindle publishing.
Yeah, that's right. Same thing, same bank, same thing. 4 years, not the same amount. So it didn't come, and I messaged Ty and said, your royalties in. It's like 5 days over, and I know it can sometimes take 3 days over. You know, if you have like a bank holiday and weekend and all that sort of stuff going on, wasn't one of those. And I thought, okay, it's gonna be fine. Started feeling a little bit of eek in my stomach, you know, all the usual stuff, knowing what I got. I just invested heavily in Facebook ads for the following month, and knowing that obviously your royalties are coming in every month. This is being put on like a business commercial credit card, you know. Then it's a lot. And then basically what happened was, so that was July, but I didn't think anything in July, because that's July. July's good, August is good, life's good, you know, got it all set aside, there's uni fees, tax, which I paid at the end of July to pay it in different times throughout the year. So that was all good, and life was good. And then end of August came, and that was the time when the royalty didn't hit, and I'm like, okay, and it was about the same amount. I'd sort of stayed at the same level of scale in that month because I was building out the new pen name, but the outgoings were like multiplied because I was building out this pen name, got loads of series being written. But it's all, you know, fine. So it was like 5 days, 7 days, you get the idea. Royalties didn't come in. And then I did obviously the usual stuff you do, phone Amazon, email, blah, blah, phone my bank. And then I looked on my payments, I did it before that, but it said it had been paid. And then later it said failed. And all my little amounts came through from the different countries, you know, like $5 from Brazil and $70 from Europe and 100, which are all great when you start your business, but not when you're waiting for your Amazon.com payment, because that's my biggest one. Anyway, so I thought, okay, so it's not my bank, because all the usual payments are coming in, the bank hadn't changed. To cut a long story short, didn't arrive. September didn't arrive. They put a hold on my account, and I was going like crazy and maxed out on everything at this point, because I didn't have the reserves, because the reserves had gone to the uni fees. Single mom, whatever card, you know, I decided I wanted to play to make myself feel better that woe is me, you know? And so I was all right, I was getting on with business, we were doing all my stuff with Erin, and I was carrying on, just delayed, you know, I didn't commission another writing episode, I just sort of stalled, took ads right down, because Ty said just keep them on if you can, even just a little amount, so you don't screw up the algorithm, so we took them right down. And to cut a long story short, it was like end of October, when like 75k came through, but no one would, so it was like major like relief, but it was a huge lesson. And basically what had happened was, I felt better come beginning of October or mid-October, I think I talked to you about it, Ty.
Yeah, right.
Because I found, Erin had actually found a Facebook group, there's always going to be a Facebook group, people with problems, and we found this Facebook group, and it was loads of UK, there's like 180 or something people in there that were in the group, so yeah, how many I don't know, and Australia and America and UK, there was some sort of glitch their end.
So UK and Australia and America?
That was it.
UK and Australia.
Yeah.
Only
There's some sort of glitch. No one's ever admitted to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which they want.
My bank's fault. They were equally crazy and helpful. Thousands of dollars of fees. Credit rating went like that. So it's had it's bloody annoying, but it made me realise, crap, I need to have way more reserves, and that is, and so it's so tricky when you don't have like an extra job. And I had other income coming in from the work I'm doing with Erin, from work I do with Ty. I had some coming enough to like look after my home.
Correct.
And make my house payment and all of that, but I had to like put the business on hold. But for me, that was really stressful because I was just about to get into like a 40k month. It's like it was going that way. But it made me realise, without going into too much detail that you don't need, but it just made me realise, okay, the importance of reserves, which is what we're talking about today. And there were some. There'd normally be like 25k or whatever reserves if something goes. But that had obviously gone because I'd like used 75k up now.
Over 3 months, yeah, right.
Yeah. And then I thought I can't tell anyone about this because I don't want to put fear into like the community thinking this could happen to them, because it won't. Like Ty said, it's not happened to him, and that's the truth,
Yeah.
Amazon, honestly, which is why whenever I'm doing any training on the fast pass, like I was the other night, I always say, just whatever you do, check the terms and conditions. Well, of course, I didn't break any of those, but when something goes wrong, you don't want to be there with them.
Yeah.
Because an absolute black hole. They love, very polite, black hole galore. 196 emails I wasted my time on. I should just waited.
196?
196.
Is that just going out on your end?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
And phone calls to bank. I wasted so much time. I should have just let it go time. I was so stressed. I felt like it was just doom, it's just crazy. It's like everything that I teach, I just went out the window. I was so stressed.
Yeah.
And either go to uni, independent uni, and I'm like, oh my goodness, woe is me. I want someone like scoop me up and save me in. I'm on my own, and I felt really on my own, even though I've got, your support, Erin's support. And it made me think about that. So, but the moral of the story is, I didn't, at one point, mid-July, I just thought, oh, I'm just going to let this go. Just going to let this go. This is crazy. Why am I trying to control something I can't control? I know now it wasn't my bank. It's like a glitch thing. And I told them that. I know you've got a glitch. My emails got beyond aggressive, which doesn't normally work, but they were just like, thank you for your email. I hope you're having a great day. That was the same thing every time. No, you just react.
So you're rhyming in your emails. I know you got a glitch, and then I'm not saying.
There's a group out there talking about it. So sort this out now.
Right.
And I'm like, now it's all sorted. Get the money in my bank account, and these are the interest charges. Anyway, to cut long story short, I just thought one day, I said, I'm done worrying. The universe always takes care of me. I'm going to be fine. I've got the load. But you know what I did think at that point? If this goes and I never get it, I've got so many options.
Yep.
I wouldn't have had if I'd have lost my job. I thought I can do this, I can do that. And then I started to get creative. When I let go of that stress, it was probably earlier on in October when I found this out. When I let go of that stress, I thought, I forgot to go to my audiobook publisher about my new pen name.
Yep.
And I got this pen name to £2,000 on Amazon in its first month because of what I know now. And I went to them, they said, yeah, we'll advance on that pen name, send us them all over. So that was like 6k came in.
Nice.
So I thought, okay, I can get creative. So it was very interesting, and it made me think about various things. Now, I obviously realised the importance of reserves, and my spending had actually been overspending in the business, not anywhere else. It wasn't a lifestyle creep thing, because all of that was sort of level, but it was just the scaling the second pen name based on the fact that the royalties would be predictable. And I'll tell you what that period did. It built amazing resilience. So much resilience that I don't react. I haven't been reacting to anything that's been going on, other than being really, really busy in the last week, and that's been a bit overwhelming. But it also made me realise, wow, multiple streams of income. I don't mean start 5 businesses at once.
Yeah.
Build out what you're doing. And then, because I had that backup, so I could actually feed my kids and do all, and I didn't have to go to anyone to borrow money, because I was dreading having to like say to my mum or something, you know, because she thinks this thing doesn't work anyway. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do that. No, never. It's not going to happen. So anyway, I built up this resilience and then got more creative. And so I was talking to a community about this at the Fast Pass and also in our Vela community, and I was saying to them, you know, when I'm talking about multiple streams of income, I'm just talking about mastering this business, but actually multiple streams within this business.
Yep, and that's the best
within
way.
This business, because I started analysing different things and thought, you know, I make $1,600 a month on paperbacks. I didn't even know.
Mm-hmm.
It gets hidden with the rest. So I thought, okay, well that's interesting. So I can do more with that.
Need to do more paperbacks, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then it just got creative. We've been talking about like Kickstarter. I'm not suggesting that when you start publishing, if you have not developed your business yet, where you've got traction and you're getting, don't go off and do everything. Don't go off and translate all your content. Don't go off and do Kickstarter campaigns, which are these Kickstarters, you probably know, it's a crowdfunding site where you can do special editions of your hardcover books, and they you get paid through bidding. People bid and pay you. It's amazing. But we've not done it ever. So I thought I'll start that and I'll do this. I'll do some more coaching. And then, you know, I thought, oh, I'm going to try a series with direct selling. I'm going to try that. And also I was going to build paid subscriptions, but I changed my mind. And then I thought, do you know what? It felt like Amazon owned my content then, because I'm in Kindle Unlimited. And I thought, this does not put me off Amazon at all. It puts me off my approach to my business and this could tear anyone down. You know, this could take anyone's business down, what happened to me. So if they don't have their reserves, which is tricky in your first few years of business because you're building it and scaling it. And then it built up this amazing resilience. Now, it made me think about getting more creative, definitely staying on Amazon, but just doing multiple things within the business and audio books and all the things we teach in the community. So everything's hunky-dory, amazing. And then, of course, we had the news a week ago that, a week today, 28th, that Vela was being wound down. And we're like, okay. And do you know how I reacted? I said to myself, Ty would be proud.
I'm looking at it now, because we communicate on Slack. I think that's the only way we communicate, right? We've never sent emails or anything like that. We're not on a WhatsApp. Maybe we need to do WhatsApp.
We did do WhatsApp and Messenger, but then we went on Slack and
I am
like that.
terrible on WhatsApp. I have people that send me messages all the time.
And I was phoning you one day and you didn't know it was me.
All the time, and and I'm the worst, because when I go to seminars and there's people outside of US, I'm like, oh, they're like, what's your WhatsApp? And I'm giving them my WhatsApp, knowing
you're not going to go.
That'll never go in.
That's fine.
Right?
The systems check your messages and deal with them for you.
Something, yeah. But so then Vela goes down, right? Meaning, so Amazon has discontinued Kindle Vela, and yes, you handled it like a pro.
I was but it's not even about how I handled it outright. Because when I was hacked last year, I handled it like a pro in public, but I didn't handle it well behind the scenes. As you know, I cried a lot. This time, when this happened, Erin sent me the message, because everyone on Vela got an email, and I said, and honestly, no fear inside my body, no tummy turning and feeling sick like I'd had before, and just no reaction. I just went, crap, okay, let's pivot and look after our people and support them. And it was literally, and she did the same. And this affects her way more because a lot of her income's on Vela. And we had the most creative week we've ever had. Very busy. I mean, a bit too busy. We're doing like first 3 sessions on Saturday busy. But we created something around like life after Bella for people to help
Nice.
them just deal with the content that's on the platforms. They're allowed to keep it on there till February and then pivot over. A lot of our people have got the Kindle cash flow program, so they've got what they need to do that. We brought in a couple of people that were people are coming in from these promo groups worrying, and we've sort of created something little for them, a little transition thing. But it made me, rather than going into, oh God, but it also made me think about the same thing. So I built this major resilience up. Nothing now is going to bother me.
Yeah.
Well, I promised myself that, but who knows? We never know. In business,
Yeah, you never know.
you don't know. You can't sort of
Yeah.
say that, put pressure on yourself. But it's all right to not be okay when things do go wrong. But it was interesting how I'd normally had a major reaction to that, physical one, and I didn't. So then we've come up with loads of things. And then I thought, well, we did it. We did what I tell people not to do. We've created a product around a platform.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought, oh.
Well, you're talking about Bella. You're talking about Bella.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's fine, right? You just have to have other options as well, because any of this stuff could go, right? We run ads on Facebook. Facebook at any time could say, hey, we don't want you anymore.
We have to do a mix of things.
You got to do a mix of things, and it has to be within. Ideally, it should be within the same ecosystem, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely. So publishing, if it's publishing,
if it's publishing, it's publishing, right?
Yeah, we pivoted this product, and we've got some of our members are actually testing out some of the serial platforms that look really good. So this is fine. All we've got to do is a little rebrand on that. So it's all good. We're actually really positive about it because we've got in more ideas and more courses we want to do, and we're talking to you about stuff as well. Mm-hmm. So it's all been really interesting, but it was incredible the way and I said that day, universe, reacted. So now show me some magic. And then a few things happened that day that were unexpected. I got a message from you about a project, and then also my book just shot up.
Wow.
Charts. It's new release. Okay. This stuff works. So it just shows you, doesn't it, how we react is understandable. But I think the good news is, as you get things in business and they do go wrong, and they will, little things, things
they will go wrong, yeah.
But if you, as you develop the resilience, we have people here that will be mega resilient. For me, this was just the thing because of some past trauma.
Right.
And so this was my thing. So consequently, of course, something's going to go wrong in that area if that's my thing, So I created it. But it just taught me that, this is all good. This has happened, and actually, we've got better and better and better since this has happened.
Yeah.
And more creative, and this is going to lead to much more success.
It is.
Look, absolutely. That isn't just, like you say that sometimes in public, and you think, sometimes people say things and they don't believe it. It's like 150% true. It's already happening.
Yeah. No. I think you get to a point where you do believe it, because I would say those things to my wife, like, can't believe that this happened. But I love the fact that it happens, because that means that there's so much more that's going to happen for us, right? Yeah. And it's like Napoleon Hill talks about, with every adversity is the seed of equal or better opportunity. So just believing in that, right? And then there's so many, look, this stuff is all over the place. I'm looking at Barbara over here, and Barbara, there's biblical principles I'm sure that you can refer to, right? Where it talks about how when things don't go right, that's a test to kind of show that there's these, as long as we have a belief and we have a faith, that we can still continue to push forward. So it doesn't matter what you believe, there's always something that can support the fact that something bad happening to you, I think outside of death,
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's always something else.
Like that. Yeah, that's not no comparison. Mm-hmm. It also made us sort of look at the product we created and thought, oh my God, this is relevant for anywhere. It's just a few different words and different things like that. And then, the other thing that I want to share with you, because I'll share this with you as I journey through this, is it made me think, I don't want to be vulnerable anymore. I don't like people feeling vulnerable. So now I'm passionate in all the work and the courses that I'm going to be doing to help people not feel vulnerable, especially women, menopausal ones, single moms, all the rest of it, because I felt that period of my life has been a vulnerable one because all these things are happening to me, during that period. So I thought, I'm not going to change and go off and brand into something else. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in this world, publishing world. But it just made me think, how can we've got a duty for people not to feel vulnerable. Donnie was doing brilliantly on Bella. So many of our community were doing brilliant, and they were earning from there. And it also gave me, and this is what I wanted to bring to the Money Morning meetup as well today, so I thought, do I share this story? I don't want people to worry about this, it won't happen to you. And I thought, yeah, the other thing it made me realise is there was people in art, and this is not any criticism of anyone, but it just shows you when you do get an opportunity, if you can, if you can try and do this, you act on it straight away. Because Donnie and Siobhan and others in the community, Gabby and Michelle,
They jumped on it.
I think Michelle was doing well on there. Some people share their results and some people don't. But a lot of people here, they took action quickly. They earned all those months on Vela, and some people didn't get on there yet. And when I bought my Kindle Cashflow programs, it took ages to get on and get started. When I did, there was no stopping me, but I had that period where, I did that. So it's no judgment on anyone, but it just shows you the importance of, if you've got an opportunity, get it done, get on with it as much if you can, because sometimes life happens and things get in the way. Just get it done, because those people have, not only is Donnie, for example, I'm going to use Donnie because I can see Donnie, because I've got one screen of gallery in front of me, and he's one of our most successful students out of pretty small group that we have in there.
But it goes back to what we say in the community, money loves speed, right? So money loves speed.
He's the very big heightened version of that. He was by day 3 of our challenge, he got content on Bella.
I remember that.
Yeah, do you even know about Bella? So, but the great thing for Donnie is, okay, so it's unnerving, but the great thing for Donnie is that Amazon, they're being kind, they've made this decision for a reason. Again, we respect that. But they've given everyone till February to keep their content on Vela. If anyone's on Vela and they don't know about this. But they are allowing people, as at today actually, because it's the 4th, to download their material. They can get it straight into ebooks on Amazon, or they can go onto another serial platform. So there are other options. So Donnie's created all this content, and even if you haven't been paid for it, which he has, then he's got all this content, and he's developed this skill that he didn't have before, using AI to create some of his content as well. So,
which is transferable. So all of this stuff that you guys learn, this is it, right? So if you're publishing fiction, right, you should be able to go, now you've got this skill where you could publish it to Amazon, you could publish it to other platforms. And that's what I learned. Like when I first started publishing, I started on Amazon Advantage, right? So publishing physical books. And I'm like,
oh wow,
I could do this in so many different, other outlets, so that when Amazon KDP came around, it was easy. The hardest part was me actually doing it. But having a skill set was easy, knowing how to do it. The hardest part was just sitting down, dedicating time to actually doing it. And then Lulu, right? Publishing to Lulu, and then...
I was going to say about your Lulu account, because you shared your figures a few months ago.
Which still makes money, right? To this day. So 15 years ago. So now, let's say and then also publishing our own programs, right? So nonfiction. So if you're publishing fiction on Amazon, there's nothing that's stopping you from taking those nonfiction books, and then turning them into a higher price program, right? So all of this stuff is transferable, but it has to be within that same orbit. And what you're doing is, if you're building up awareness in this area, that awareness is transferable to this area, which is transferable to this area. You can take a book like this, a nonfiction book, turn it into a course. You could turn this into a podcast. You could turn this into a YouTube channel. There's so many ways of repurposing this stuff. So when you start to think,
that's great, isn't it?
you just bought the book. So
Yeah,
when you start thinking about like, how can I repurpose the content? That was a turning point for me too. Is just understanding how can I repurpose, whether it's fiction, you can now take that fiction and you turn it into an audio, right? You turn it into a paperback, right? You turn it into a series if you've got multiple books within that series. So you shouldn't just be relying on just one way. And then you turn it into a game, right? So this is something that I shared with Marty and Josh, and I think they do really well with it. It's like, think about how many different ways you can take one piece of content and make money from it, right? So our nonfiction, they become podcasts. They become YouTube videos, content for YouTube. They become blog posts, or at least the beginning of a blog post. They become email articles, right? They become articles on Medium. And all of these things are gathering new people that you send to your list so that you can build out your list and you can introduce them to your other things. Right? So
and introduce them to your paid subscriptions.
you
as well.
introduce all that's the other stuff, right? So they become membership programs. We got a ton of membership programs, which I love. They become challenges, they become workshops. So you could take one thing and turn it into like 20 different things that are all income generators.
Exactly. I'm
Yeah.
turning this into a product as well.
There you
What's
go.
happened? Not a product in, let's just talk about positive mindset. I'm not going to do that, even though those products are brilliant, but that's not really where I want to go. But I suddenly thought, I was going there and then I digressed off. How can I be less vulnerable and feel like, Amazon are owning my business? And of course, then that's it about getting creative. So get really, when you get creative and you let go of any stress, like I did in October, what happened? Literally, and I'm not lying. If you know me, you'll know I never lie.
Yeah.
Well, apart from white lies for the kids, no, I'm joking. We call them white lies. So no, I don't lie. And I literally, within 3 hours, I got an email from KDP going, great day, the usual.
Right.
And we've lifted the hold, we've sorted out the issue, and your royalties will be in at the end of October. Interestingly, I didn't do a happy dance because I'd already built this letting go thing, and I went, okay, cool. And then the kids went, yay, because I tried to hide it from them, but there's only so long you can do that. And I said, well, I'm not going to go yay, I'm going to expect this to go well, but I'll wait till the end of October. We're not going to start putting 200 a day on my ads or anything like that yet.
Yeah.
And so, but it made me think, what do I really want to do? Okay, that's interesting. So I got in contact with a broker and I got a value on my pen name.
Nice.
I want one pen name, $500,000.
Nice, very cool.
Okay, I'm going to sell that. And then I thought, okay, and then I reached out to you, Ty, because you've got a friend.
I was gonna say, I never put you in contact with
He
Brian?
never got back to me. He's not like replying. We're friends on Facebook, so.
Oh, I'll send him a message. Remind me to send him a message on Slack, and I'll text him.
You said Brian Cliet?
Cliet, yes, yeah.
And he's a friend of Ty's, great guy, and he was a student in Kindle Cashflow, and he flips pen names. So he's done some sessions for us on KCF Live, and I watched those. Brilliant. Yeah. But it made me think I'm doing a product. So I'm journaling now. Who knows what we'll end up selling for? But and then I thought by the time that sells, because that could take 4 months, that sort of size of pen name to sell, and then it's like 2 months of work. Then the next one would be built up.
Intentionally.
And then when that's sold, I'll be able to take a lump sum and I'll build the other one on the back end. So by the time that one's sold, and then I'll just duplicate this machine. And there's a way that I can do that where I don't have to sell them all at once. And then I figured out, so I had a conversation with some contacts in Dubai. I can actually get 2 investment properties over there with that. And I'm just thinking, this would not have gone that way.
No, it wouldn't.
This hadn't happened. Now, I'm not selling to like just sell and do a different business. I'm selling and creating more. So it's made me even more determined, as I've seen, because of those royalties not being in for a while, it made me see how powerful this business is and how incredible this business is and how creative you can be with content, like you say, I mean, honestly, when you think about it, what business out there can you repurpose
Yeah.
in so many different ways? You know, like you say, if it's non-fiction,
Yeah.
courses, etc. So I'm going to journal it, and then I'm going to share that with you as I go through it.
Yeah, I think that would be really smart.
Some people might want to do that.
Yeah.
Many people won't. But
Yeah.
if you we want to attract in more entrepreneurs as well.
Yep.
And then sort of that would be the sort of the audience. I think that some people just go into that. I met somebody actually who's coming into the fast class last week, and he said his mentor always says, whatever business you go into it to sell it. That's interesting in terms of your approach to it.
No, and that is so true. So back in 2017, I got very bored with business, right? Very, very bored with it. And
how long had you been in business then? So how long had you left work?
At 2017, I left work in 1997. So right before my oldest daughter was born. So 97.
Oh, wow.
What is that? 97, 2007, 2000. So about 20 years. Right, so at this point, so I got really bored.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, I'm gonna take a year off, and I'm just gonna do nothing. So we traveled and we just did all of this stuff. I got bored of that in like 2 months. I'm bored out of my mind, going nuts, right? Because I enjoy being productive in ways, and everyone's different. So this may not be you, right? The taking a year off might be for a person that, for me, it wasn't me. So then I said, you know what? In that period, I got so tired of dealing with affiliates and things like that, and talking to affiliates and building up these relationships, and then the 80-20, the Pareto principle, where with affiliates, it's only, like 5% of them that actually do what the heck they claim they can do, so you got 100 of them and only 5 can actually produce. So I got tired of that game, right? And then I said, I want to build a business that I can do really well with, and if I chose, I could sell it. If I chose, I could pass it down to the children. So I started to study all of these different elements that go into businesses that you could sell. I started to study like guys like John Warlow, who has a great podcast. It's called Built to Sell. He also has a book by the same title called Built to Sell. So you guys should go look at that. In all the different industries. So he gets some great, amazing people on his podcast. He interviews these guys. And I started to really dig down into this world. And there's 6 or 7 elements that the businesses that are easier to sell and that have a higher multiple all have, right? One of them is they have recurring. So they have recurring, meaning there's a membership component, there's some subscription component to it. So when I was talking about you guys having nonfiction and adding some type of recurring component to it, you can do that. That's what we used to teach in micro offers, which we don't teach it. We don't have that program anymore.
You can do that in fiction as well, because you can have your readers that you paid members.
100%. Yes. I never went down that avenue, but you could do it in fiction as well. And then the other element is it has to be a business that is marketable on more than just one platform. Meaning, so if you're marketing your business on Facebook, you should also be able to market it through direct response ads, direct mail ads, or be able to market it on radio or television, right? Just to give you an example. Not that you have to, but you should be able to. You should also be able to market it on YouTube, right? And still generate leads. So it shouldn't be dependent on just one avenue of marketing, right? The other thing is you should have multiple price points, right? So having multiple price points. So you have something at the lower price point, you have something at the higher price point. That way you're attracting the people that are okay with Walmart shopping. You're also attracting the Carolines that are like the Louis Vuitton, right? So you have all of those. You see, I bigged you up right there. I gave you.
It's like she actually.
Right. So you're gonna attract the ties that are like I'm not really Walmart, but Target, right? Target, right? So Target, and then you can do the Louis Vuitton. And then the other things is you should be able to sell in different formats. So you can have, customers that will buy from you digitally. You can have customers that will buy a service. You can have customers that might buy a physical product. And with digital publishing, you can do all of that if you wanted to. I don't do physical products because I can't stand physical products. My experience with them, the returns are just not enough, right? And it's too much of a headache. So all of these different elements that you would have in a business that is more sellable and that would command a higher multiple, we could do all of this stuff in this realm of digital publishing that we're in. So but again, look, you guys should be looking at like, how do I not just stay in one lane, but how do I slowly but surely have more than one car on the track, right? So how do I have a car that is on Amazon and I've got content coming in from Amazon? So the game is to see how many checks you can get a month. That's the game, basically. How many checks from how many different people, so that if you got 7 different checks coming in, and person number 6 says, I no longer like you, then that's fine, because I got 6 more checks and people that love sending me these checks, right? And then person number 2 says, we're shutting down. Then that's fine, right? Because now I got these other things. And it's not about the resources that you have, it's about how resourceful you can be. And then so the resources are never going to be the issue. How much money do I have? How much time do I have? Right? How much help do I have? Well, that one could be. Because when you don't have the money, you don't have the time, then you start looking at other ways to become. Al Gore did not win the presidency. Remember a long time ago when he was running? Great guy. He probably would have been beneficial, but he wasn't resourceful. He wasn't resourceful in the connections that he had. He wasn't resourceful in using his looks, right? Some people say he was a handsome looking guy. He wasn't resourceful in using all of these other things that could have helped him to get into the White House. And when you have these issues, when your back is up against the wall, we start to get more resourceful. My mom making $400 a week, she made Christmas look fantastic every year.
Yeah,
right?
Everything you wanted.
Yeah. Well, not in that sense.
Needed.
Right. Not in that sense.
Yeah.
Not in the sense of toys, but I'm talking about food and just making it look good, because she had to be resourceful. She had to say, okay, well, this is how much I have to work with. Let me work it. Right. So that's it.
That's so crucial, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're asking about getting creative, but actually it's resourceful. And it's when you reach out to people that you realise that there's so much, and especially in this community, I mean, goodness, we've got an abundance of creative friends here. That you realise, I can help you with that bit. And also if you create an environment where you're serving and giving and being resourceful and sharing resources, then when something does happen, people just come out and they offer and they do. Like Donnie and Siobhan and everyone yesterday in a group thread was saying, Siobhan said, I'm testing out this platform, it's looking really good. And we think, if our students can do the market research for us, that will help us as we do it. That's being resourceful, or we could just hire somebody in to do it. But that's so crucial, isn't it? Because you can be, if you're creative, as we all are, and use what resources you have, it's incredible how many you can find. But also, like you say, having the it may be the same world, but the multiple different options. The only thing with that is, in those probably just the first few months, it's heads down just with the basics, isn't it?
Yes.
And that's key, that people don't start thinking, right, okay, because I do this, day one, I'm going to translate everything, but also if you have this has helped me as well in this last decision I've made about selling pen names. And it doesn't even have to be bigger like my pen name, and who knows what we'll end up listing it for. It's just like a quote. But one of the things that it made me realise is this particular pen name, I'm sort of doing everything here, there and everywhere with it, over there, platform, there. And if I am building to sell, I will be saving money by keeping it really, really simple. Not just like on one platform, but just like paperbacks on Lulu that we talked about.
Yes.
But they're keeping it simple in the way it's set up, setting it up to sell it. In other words, SOPs from day one. And there were ages before I brought those into my business. I was just like scrambling around trying to learn this new world, and I've never been online. And it's the same for a lot of people here. They've come out of the corporate world, whatever, they've not had an online business. And it's about if you set it up as if you want to sell it, because just think, I was saying to the team, where are the checklists that we were talking about last week? We need them on Trello, because we can take the Trello board and give that with a pen name.
Yeah.
So if you have this mindset as well, don't worry about whether you sell or not. If you have this mindset of building to sell, you'll end up with this really slick, simple business. You'll cut costs in some areas that you might not necessarily need to do things. And also you will have good procedures in place. So it's a clean business, as opposed to my first pen name, which is just like, there's, like I said, there's multiple everywhere, because I was just I wasn't building it to sell it, I was building it to keep it forever and ever and ever. It's gonna be hard to let it go. But also it just gives you that option then to, because if you can build in a simple way to sell, it frees your time and resources to go on and do the next thing, build that next pen name, etc. And then go down that road. So it's huge. It's amazing how one incident can, or a few incidents, whatever, can lead to huge understanding about yourself
and you learn
business. Yeah. And we're in the perfect world that if something did go wrong, it's very easy to get back on our feet at a low cost, even if everything did get taken away. Or you get hacked, or you lose everything, or whatever. If there's, it's way cheaper to be doing digital content than it is opening a cake shop. I'm going to talk about cake shops in all my examples. But it's an easy, creative way of moving forward without the risk of physical products. Because as you said that, I thought, on this broker site, it's called Empire Flippers. There are a few, but this one seems to be a good one. There's loads of Amazon FBA businesses. They're huge. Some of them are selling for loads, for multiple millions.
You know what's interesting? You guys, and we had shared this at KCF Live one time. I had went in and talked about Empire Flippers, and then we had Brian Collette who came in. He's got relationships with some of the owners of Empire Flippers, and then the other one that's out there. There's a couple of them. But you guys, it is really interesting to go on this site and see what digital businesses sell for. Not to, and look, if that's not your thing, then that's fine. As I said, I built up this business with the intention of selling it, and I never sold it, right? So back in 2017, I never sold it, but I built it based off the structures of businesses that could sell. And then I'm like,
that's so crucial.
Yeah, so it's that. And so I think the other thing that we should talk about on the Monday morning meetup, and perhaps next week, Caroline, is attachment. So having attachment to your book, right? Your product or whatever it may be.
That's a beautiful topic.
And not being so attached to it in a way where you don't think that you have to do everything. You're building out your SOPs. Right, and a simple way, and I can actually show you guys a super simple way of building out your SOPs, just using like Google Docs and Loom, which is where I build all of mine.
Do SOPs again, in another session on the next.
We can do that as well.
A good year or so, and also, the attachment is so it can bloody hold us back, and it's like all the authors that I talk to that have been writing that book for 3 years. You're like, let that book go, get it out there. And get, now it's a tricky one, because we say follow your bliss, be passionate about what you're doing, but that's more about loving what you're doing and enjoying it, and it's also about doing something that resonates, because I was doing like children's books, and for me they didn't resonate with me, and so I moved out and went into romance, because that resonated more with, I thought, that's going to keep my interest for longer. But having a passion and loving what you do is different to attachment. And this pen name, if you'd have told me this with this pen name, I mean, I use my late grandma's name for the pen name, who I never met. She died before my dad met my mum. So much attachment. This pen name is like destined to be successful. You know what I mean? And then writing a lot of the material myself at the beginning. This incident over the last few months, and then Bella hitting on us last week like that, it made me realise that I have detached from this inherent control an attachment that I have to certain things. And if you can build that muscle around detachment, that will help with so many other things in life. Because because if you make decisions that are too emotional in business, you may as well shoot yourself in the foot, you know. And so that's helped me to make these decisions where I looked at what we were doing and I thought, we're doing more of that, we're not doing that, we're doing more. And I said to both my VA and Maliha, I said, we're pivoting what you guys are doing. Because we don't need to do any of that. Forget about that on your project list. We're building to sell. And so that has that lack of attachment, but still loving it and passionate is beautiful, because Erin and I weren't attached. We loved what we did. We weren't so attached that it was the only thing we were going to do. We were already building out other ideas. So that's how we dealt with it well. If this was like the be all and end all and the bread and butter of our homes and all the rest of it, we'd have gone down last week for a while.
I think also if you didn't realize, or if you didn't have a transferable skill set, which both of you guys have now, then it becomes the end all or be all. But now it's like, Donnie, right, or anyone else, what do I know, and how can I just apply it somewhere else? It's dating, right? It's like, how do I know how to go in and ask someone else out on a date, so if I get, I don't know why do I always use the damn
I don't know why you use
example.
that. I always think
My wife is gonna kill me one day if she ever. But it's like, once you know how to go in and you right, it's
you're gonna find another, you get hurt and you're so attached. And it's awful. We've all been there and had that happen to us, and we've done that maybe to other people. But you know that once you start to love yourself, different conversation for a different day. But once you work on that attachment anxiety, they call it, don't they? Then you realise that it doesn't matter where you're at, you still have that love. And then you can fall in love again. You can build another pen name again, or you can go, all this sort of stuff. It's the same concept. And often when people have had an anxiety in the past, or things that have been stripped away from them, like we've all had, different things happening, that attachment can really build up, and you don't even know it's there. Which is why last year when I got hacked, I was so attached to my Facebook account and all the other things. This time it's like, doesn't matter, so much contingency in place. Go on then, take it. It's another reason why you're building out a community, and I am, on Go High Level, on your CRM system, because Facebook can take your groups down
at any moment, right?
And so you've got people in your community where you're in control, and they are able to have a better experience as well.
Speaking of that, let me do a shameless plug really quickly. I was
building into that for you.
So there you go. Publishlikeapro.com. If you guys are not part of a group, right? Publishlikeapro.com. So publishlikeapro.com. There you go. And in this group, actually, coincidentally, we're talking about all of the things that we're talking about. We're talking about being able to create multiple streams of income, right? Now, here's, to kind of close this out, for those of you that are already publishing on Amazon, your multiple streams of income could be each new book that you're publishing. Initially, right? It's each new book. So that's what it was for me. It was each new book, right? And then it's continuously to publish new books. So that now I have different books that are bringing in different streams of income. And then it's like, okay, but different formats. How do I go in and publish in paperback format? How do I publish in audio format, right? And then it becomes, how do I now start to have control when I'm selling from my own sites, my own platforms? So it's just thinking about all of the different ways that you can do this. And it becomes...
And if you guys have got, as I have, reader groups, like your advanced reader copy, your ARC team, a group on Facebook, and then I've got this big community, I don't remember the team manager, on Facebook, it's a massive group, there's so many people in there. We're going to get them over to community.
What's the name of your group? Let's do a shameless plug real quick.
No, this is my pen name.
Oh, your pen name group. Okay, well, let's not do a shameless plug. There you go. Okay.
It won't be
Awesome.
somebody else's
Right.
soon.
You see, Philip, where this is going here? I tell
But
you.
if that got taken to hell, if that got hacked again,
Right.
you know what I mean? So I want those people out of there. I mean, they're all on my list, but yeah. And that's the other thing. That's the other thing that we were teaching Saturday as well, in the Fast Pass, in the Vela community, with our Life After Vela thing that we have now. If you haven't built an email list now, okay, not a shame call, but you see,
Yep.
you see the importance of building an email list, because it doesn't matter what any platform does, those people are there. And you know, after I got hacked, I could talk to my list. They were mine.
Yeah.
So done. And what we did was we bounced back really quickly and got bigger and bigger and doubled up. So because we didn't lose all of our data. So, you know, on Amazon, we know that we can build up followers on Amazon, but we don't know who the hell those followers are.
No, you have no idea. And
it's not our data, they own that.
Yeah.
So
Same thing with Facebook groups.
Same with Facebook groups, like you've experienced, and you posted the cash flow, didn't you, recently, about posts being noticed and everything.
Yep. So even if you guys are building up a Facebook, is there anyone here who has a Facebook group that they have built and they're using it for their readers or anything? Because you guys should not be, like, Facebook is gathering all of that data. So one day I see a few people. So you should be using like a third party too. So use something like GroupKit, right? So Group KIT, so that when someone joins your Facebook group, you're able to capture their email address. You're able to capture their name, so that Facebook doesn't only have that data in the event that they close out your group or they start saying, hey, we're gonna charge for a group or whatever it might be, right? So now also, you have that. So.
Yeah, to add to that, when you ask, because we do this with our group, so all those people in our Vela group are on our list, and if they don't use their email address, they don't get in the group. But we give them something for that. So with your readers, Wendy, because I know you talked about your community before on here, when we unmuted one day a few months ago, if you give them something free, like we do in like Kindle Cashflow, so and in our Vela community, so you might want to give them your prequel to your series, or whatever free book you've got. It might just be a little book, or it might just be a few pages of an excerpt of the book. So, you know, download this book, what's your email address? Because you've got to give your email address to it. So it's just a lead magnet, but in your Facebook group, you're allowed to do it. And then they'll go on your email list. Don't give the email list. Well, that's fine. We're building a community. You don't go in the group. You know, and we had this recently with someone saying they don't give their email. And we said, well, just create another email that's just for this then. You know, if you don't want it near your other emails, or you're not. It's not going to be for you then. So that's because what happens is we rely on these platforms. And all of a sudden, someone else is owning our data. So this is why subscribers are so important. You know, Donnie had started building an email list, so he's got some subscribers, and he can take those people over to the main platform or over to another serial platform. You know. So good stuff.
Good stuff. All right, guys. Go in and I just noticed that. Yep, we got to jump off as well. Thank you, Michelle. All right, have you? All right, well, have a good day. Have a good week, guys. And go out and build out multiple streams. Start thinking about at least how can you repurpose. Like a book should just not be a book, right? A piece of content should not just be a piece of content. You can turn this stuff into so many different things. When I first started doing this, I would take a simple, what was the format that because we've since changed it, but I would take a simple article and then repurpose that article into a blog post, and then repurpose that blog post into a podcast post, then repurpose that into YouTube content. So you can do it in so many different ways. You just get creative with it. All right? All right.
Absolutely.
And we will see you guys. Stay well. Start thinking about multiple forms. All right. Stay well, guys.
Yeah.
All right. All right. And that was our Monday morning meetup. If you guys have not ever joined us on the Monday morning meetup, we do it every Monday at 8 a.m. Eastern. You're free to join us by going to tycohen.com/MMM. So tycohen.com/MMM for Money Morning Meetup. Stay well.